Okay, so I kind of held off on the Roman Reigns leukemia video for a little bit because I wanted to see if they would have an announcement about Crown Jewel. So I figured, might as well now, let's just throw multiple topics into one. So I'll begin first with Crown Jewel. Yeah, I kind of thought they probably weren't going to be able to not do the show. One, because we don't know what the contract looks like. Two, it's put on by the government. Three, they've already kind of cashed large sums of money to get people to do things. Four, where could you book this thing on such a short notice? Five, they probably began designing things pretty specific to the location they're going to be at. There's just so many things that they could not do in a short period of time. If you're someone who thought they never should have done Side Up stuff to begin with, the amount of money they got to do Greatest Battle Royal was second only to WrestleMania. So the fact that they were able to get effectively 2 WrestleMania paydays in a year, that's pretty big when it comes to shareholders. Is it probably not the best country to be doing work with? Yes. But a vast majority of companies based in the US do business with them. That's part of business. Do we wish our business was nice and moral? Sure. If you truly believe that companies should be moral way above any sort of viewpoint of profitability, I hope you don't use anything Apple related. It's made in China. Hope you don't use anything that's made in China or Indonesia or Mexico. You should only have American made products. And even there you can't even guarantee a level of morality. There you go. So it's going on. To be honest, I will probably get cage side seats and I will find out the result of the only 2 matches I'm even remotely interested in. And that is Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and Braun Strowman and Lesnar. That's it. Who becomes Universal Champion and does Daniel Bryan beat AJ Styles? That's it. The best American in the world competition, I don't care about. Knowing that it's 2 different brackets, well, we've just recently saw Orton Hardy and Mysterio Miz. So unless we're going to see Miz Orton and Mysterio Hardy, we've seen the matches that are going to take place at that event. Rollins Angle sounds interesting. Ziggler Angle could be interesting. That's really about it. I don't care about DX versus Brothers of Destruction. I'm done with that. The promos have just been kind of odd. This doesn't feel like it's the end of anything. It's probably the beginning. So, whatever. On Evolution. I know we talk a lot about how horribly this thing was booked. It's pretty much, here's your 2 championship matches and some filler gimmick stuff that you see on the main show. They don't really talk about the Mae Young Classic. They don't talk about the NXT Women's Belt. It's pretty much, we've got 2 championship matches that we focused on, and he's probably put them together. Huh. And here's a Legends tag match. That's a similar build to Greatest Royal Rumble. Similar build to Super Showdown. Similar build to Crown Jewel. Here's 2 big matches and some other kind of stuff just thrown in just watch it. So, it's booked about as well as everything else has been booked recently, with the exception of Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Ironically, if you watched NXT this week, you got more of a build for Evolution than you pretty much did on Raw and SmackDown. Because they talked about both the Mae Young Classic Championship, and they did a featurette on Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler. I will say that seeing Becky Lynch talk about how you don't need friends in this industry, and behind her was Shayna Baszler and the other MMA girl whose name currently escapes me, and Shayna just kind of had Look like, she speaketh the truth. And I was like, that's good. I like that. And I was like, man. I want to see Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler. I want to see current. I don't care who you are. I'm beating the daylights out of you. Becky Lynch take on Shayna Baszler. The Becky Lynch stuff she did with Rhea Ripley. I want to see Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch tear the house down. I do. Period. So, NXT, they finally potentially concluded the Who Attacked Aleister Black. And it was not Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano. Good. Good. He's embraced the dark side. And now, if we can have heel team DIY, yes, please. Heel team DIY taking on either Mustache Mountain in a match, or just decimating a team like Heavy Machinery, or Street Profits, or the Take All of My Money match where they'd be taking on the Undisputed Era. Yeah. Yes. You could have Evil Team DIY take the North American Championship, the NXT Championship, and the tag belts. And be a two-man power trip at NXT. Sign me up. Perfect. Run it. Do it. But not the only person to potentially go rogue. After weeks of being poked, Dean Ambrose finally said, I'm not a lunatic. After an emotional night in which Ambrose and Rollins became the Raw Tag Team Champions. It's a solid match, but 4 workhorses makes sense. Dirty deeds onto both of Rollins' championships. I don't know if they planned it, or if just Rollins had them both, and when he hit him, he dropped them in the right spot, and just boom. I was like, that's perfect. You don't care about it's only the championships. That's a great visual for that. And then as Ambrose is beating up on Rollins, and Rollins like, it's okay. It's okay. You could tell that he was one of those who's like, I care about you so much, Dean, you can do this. Just get it out of your system, and then we can hang out later. Just do it. Just finish it. I'm thinking we see him on Raw next week, they're going to be like, do you feel better now, Dean? Rollins is going to be like, no, we're going to hang out. This is going to be cool. And he's going to be like, no, I beat the dead. I drove you skull first into the concrete. Yeah. It's okay. We deal with these things in a different way, man. It's okay. I'm still here for you. It could have been because what happened earlier that night. But that's the wrong way. I do not care for the Roman Reigns character. But I have said multiple times, Joe seems like a pretty awesome dude. I've seen some of his red carpet stuff and some of his less kayfabe interviews. And Joe, it's Joe Inoki, seems like a really cool guy. That is the person that if they didn't have it be Roman Reigns, they had him be Joe. If they blended more Joe into Roman Reigns, like when they showed him having like the tea party with his daughter. Those moments are good. Those are solid characters. That's what you build a character around. It's not Superman who nothing hurts me. Happy Nugget. I'm a family man. I have to do these things because of my family. Actually blend in something to make him more human. Vince, for a long time, was like, I need a new Hulk Hogan. But the fan base has been going, can we get a new Austin? I'd love a new Austin. He didn't win all the time. It seemed like he won all the time. He lost the championship a lot. He was always near the top of the card. Didn't always main event. But they did enough to build up the character of him to make him real enough that it was fine. That had been said, when he gave his speech about battling leukemia, and the crowd chanted, chanted for him, which was good. I was watching with a buddy of mine, and he goes, I'm glad they didn't chant, you deserve it. And I was like, yeah, that would have been, like Chicago would have. Chicago would have probably chanted, you deserve it, followed by CM Punk chants. Do I think he'll be back? Yes. No doubt in my mind. He's driven enough that he will get through this and he will come back. Best case scenarios that I've read, people have gone into remission with leukemia in about 3 months. But I don't think he's going to be he can't really work out during the time he's going through the treatment, depending on what he's doing. Because he can bruise easier, he can bleed easier. And some of the bone marrow, if he needs a bone marrow transplant, that's going to take a lot out of him. If you're like, oh, he'll be back at Royal Rumble. If they mainline some like John Cena recovery DNA into him, maybe. If you were to come back as number 30 and win the Royal Rumble, depends on who you eliminate. If you eliminate someone like Daniel Bryan, then the crowd's going to hate him again. But if you eliminate somebody else, that's not a smart favorite. They'll probably love him. So he might not be back for Royal Rumble, which would be fine. At a number 30 spot, doing like the John Cena show up and win it, that could be pretty interesting. So, but it's 3 months of just the treatment. Most people have said, it's about 6 months to a year before you're really back at 100%, depending on what it is that you do and how fast you recover. So if we go short term, he might be back for Royal Rumble, which would be amazing. That'd be a huge comeback story. If he's not back for Royal Rumble, he comes back for Chamber. If he's not back for Chamber, maybe the build-up for WrestleMania. If not that, the night of WrestleMania pop form would be pretty spectacular. Then also you have a time when he doesn't main event a WrestleMania, which is fine. He can come back and be like, I didn't main event last night, but instead, I am now 2-0 against leukemia. Boom. It's a nice face pop. They'll come back to a hot international crowd. And then he can say, you know what? I never lost my title. Boom. Right opportunity for it. And then at Payback or Backlash, whether they go for it, he's right there in line. And I think that would give him enough time away from the camera. Like, if it comes to Royal Rumble, then yeah, we know he's going to make WrestleMania, he's going to win. It's telegraphed. But he might have enough fan base swell to carry him forward. If he ends up coming back on the road to WrestleMania, maybe he might have a good amount of crowd swell. If he comes back the night for WrestleMania, he can probably have a pretty good sustained, like believable fans are behind him sort of run for the better part of next year. But look at the future. Joe needs to worry about what's going on right now. Heal up, take care of your health, take care of your family. And you know what? I might not like the character, but I appreciate the work the man behind the character does.